Chapter 19, in which Eeyore finds the Woolery, and Owl moves into it. Pooh had wandered into the 100-acre woods, and he was standing in front of what had once been Owl's house. It didn't look at all like a house now. It looked like a tree which had been blown down, and as soon as a house looks like that, it's time you try to find another one. Pooh had a mysterious message underneath the front door this morning saying, "I am searching for a new house for Owl, so had you Rabbit." And while he was wondering what it meant, Rabbit had come in and read it for him. "I'm leaving one for all the others," said Rabbit. "And I'm telling them what it means, and then they'll all search too. I'm in a hurry. Goodbye." And he had run off. Pooh followed shortly. He had something better to do than find a new house for Owl. He had to make up a Pooh song about the old one, because he had promised Piglet days and days ago that he would, and whenever he and Piglet had met since, Piglet didn't actually say anything. But you knew at once why he didn't. And when somebody mentioned hums or trees or strings or storms in the night, Piglet's nose went all pink at the tip, and he talked about something quite different in a hurried sort of way. "But it isn't easy," said Pooh to himself, as he looked at what had once been Owl's house, "because poetry and hums aren't the same thing which you get. So they're things which get you, and all you can do is go where they can find you." He waited hopefully. "Well," said Pooh after a long wait, "I shall begin. Here lies a tree, because it does, and then I'll see what happens." And this is what happened. Here lies a tree which Owl, a bird, was fond of when it stood on end. And Owl was talking to a friend called me, in case you hadn't heard. And something occurred. For lo, the wind was blusterous, and flattened out his favorite tree. And things looked bad for him and we. Looked bad, I mean, for he and us. I've never known them was. Then Piglet, thought a thing. "Courage," he said, "there's always hope. I want a thinnish piece of rope, or if there isn't any, bring a thickish piece of string." So to the letterbox he rose, while Pooh and Owl said "oh" and "hum," and what letters always come, called letters only, Piglet squoze, his head and then his toes. "Oh gallant Piglet, Piglet, ho! Did Piglet tremble? Did he blinch?" No, he struggled inch by inch, to letters only, as I know, because I saw him go. He ran, and then he stood, and shouted, "Help for Owl, a bird, and Pooh, a bear," until he heard the others coming through the wood as quickly as they could. "Help, help, and rescue," Piglet cried, and showed the others where to go. "Sing ho for Piglet, Piglet, ho!" And soon the door was open wide, and we were both outside. Sing ho for Piglet, ho, ho! "So there it is," said Pooh, and when he had sung to himself 3 times, "It's come different from what I thought it would, but it's come. Now I must go sing it to Piglet." And here's a picture of the house, and Winnie the Pooh's looking at it. Anyways, "I am searching for a new house for Owl, so had you Rabbit." "What's all this?" said Eeyore. Rabbit explained. "What's the matter with his old house?" asked Eeyore. Rabbit explained. Nobody tells me," said Eeyore. "Nobody keeps me informed. I make it 17 days come Friday since anybody spoke to me." "It certainly isn't 17 days. Come Friday," exclaimed Eeyore. "And today's Saturday," said Rabbit, "so that would make it 11 days, and when I was here myself a week ago." "Not conversing," said Eeyore. "Not first one and then the other. You said hello and flashed past. I saw your tail in the distance as I was meditating my reply. I had thought of saying, 'What?' but of course it was then too late." "Well, I was in a hurry." "No give and take," Eeyore went on. "No exchange of thought. Hallo. What? I mean, it gets you nowhere particularly if the other person's tail is only just in sight for a second of the conversation." "It's your fault, Eeyore. You've never been to see any of us. You just stay here in this one corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. Why don't you go to them sometimes?" Eeyore was silent for a little while, thinking. "There may be something in what you say, Rabbit," he said at last. "I must move about more. I must come and go." "That's right, Eeyore. Drop in on any of us anytime when you feel like it." "Thank you, Rabbit. And if anybody says in a loud voice, Bother, it's Eeyore. I can drop out again. Rabbit stood on one leg for a moment. Well, he said, I must be gone. Goodbye, said Eeyore. What? Oh, goodbye, and if you do come across a house for Owl, you must let us know. I will give my mind to it, said Eeyore. And Rabbit went. Pooh had found Piglet, and they were walking back to the 100-acre woods together. Piglet, said Pooh, a little shyly, after it had walked some time without saying anything. Yes, Pooh? Do you remember when I said that a respectful Pooh song might be written about you-know-what? Did you, Pooh? Said Piglet, getting a little pink around the nose. Oh yes, I believe you did. It's been written, Piglet. The pink went slowly up Piglet's nose to his ears and settled there. Has it, Pooh? He asked huskily. About the time when... Do you mean really written? Yes, Piglet. The tips of Piglet's ears glowed suddenly, and he tried to say something, but even after he had husked it once or twice, nothing came out. So Pooh went on. There are 7 verses in it. Here's a picture of Piglet blushing. Oh my goodness, the favorite character ever. Ah. 7, said Piglet as carelessly as he could. You don't often get 7 verses in a hum, do you, Pooh? Never, said Pooh. I don't suppose it's ever been heard of before. Do the others know yet? Asked Piglet, stopping for a moment to pick up a stick and throw it away. No, said Pooh. And I wondered which you would like best, for me to hum it now, or to wait till we find the others, and then hum it for all of you. Piglet thought for a little while. I think what I'd like best, Pooh, is I'd like you to hum it to me now, and then hum it to all of us, because then everybody would hear it, but I could say, oh yes, Pooh's told me, and pretend not to be listening. Pooh hummed it to him, all 7 verses, and Piglet said nothing, but just stood there and glowed. Oh, never before had anyone sung Ho for Piglet. Piglet, ho, all by himself. When it was over, he wanted to ask for one of the verses over again, but didn't quite like to. It was the beginning, O gallant Piglet, and it seemed to him very thoughtful way of beginning a piece of poetry. Did I really do all that? He said at last. Well, said Pooh, in poetry, a piece of poetry, and well, you did it, because Piglet, because the poetry says you did, and that's how people know. Oh, said Piglet, because I thought I'd blinch a little, just at first, and says, did he blinch? No, that's why. You only blinch inside, said Pooh. And that's the bravest way for a very small animal not to blinch, and there is. Piglet sighed, and with happiness, and began to think about himself. He was brave. When they got to Owl's house, they found everybody there except Eeyore. Christopher Robin was telling them what to do, and Rabbit was telling them directly afterwards, in case they hadn't heard. And they were all doing it. They had got a rope and were pulling Owl's chairs and pictures, put things out of his old house, to be ready to put into a new one. Kango was down below tying things on and calling out to Owl. You won't want this dirty old washcloth anymore, will you? What about this carpet? It's all in holes. And Owl was calling back indignantly. Of course I do. It's just a question of arranging the furniture properly. And it isn't a dishcloth, it's my shawl. Every now and then, Roo fell in and came back on the rope with the next article, which flustered Kango a little because she never knew what to look for. So she got cross with Owl and said his house was a disgrace, all damp and dirty, and it was quite time it did tumble down. Look at that horrid bunch of toadstools growing on the floor there. So Owl looked down, a little surprised because he didn't know about this, and then gave a short sarcastic laugh, and then explained that it was a sponge. And that if people didn't know, a perfectly ordinary bath sponge when they saw it, things were coming to a pretty pass. Well, said Kanga, and Roo fell in quickly saying, I must see Owl's sponge. Oh, there it is. Oh, Owl, it's a sponge, it's a sponge. Do you know what a sponge is? Oh, it's when your sponge gets all... And Kanga said, Roo dear, very quickly, because that's not the way to talk to anybody who can spell Tuesday. And here's a picture of everybody pulling out Owl's things and Pooh and Piglet there. Oh, I should let linger a little more, it's quite the picture. Alright, we will continue reading tomorrow. I love you dearly, Christy. Sleep well, keep calm, find llama, carry on, and I'll talk to you very soon. I love you, Christy. Good night.